It's called Truth Uncovered TV. You heard me? It's your boy Ted So Serious live checking in. I had to break some news to y'all. So I was gonna put out the Jeffrey Epstein video. You heard me? So this the video before I release it, let y'all know what happened to me. You heard me? So I was, walking down the street. I had already announced I was gonna drop the video. You heard me? Then I'm 33 years old. This my first time getting hit by a car. You heard me? I said I was gonna drop the video, a unmarked Jeep, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like grayed out, it was like gray and black, come through flying. Boom! Hit your boy, you heard me? I was like, okay, bet. I had said since they gonna do that, I'm gonna drop part two, but I'm gonna tell it like from my point of view, like not I can't say my point of view, but I'm gonna drop all the details, the unhidden truth they want y'all to not know about. I'm dropping all that, you hear me? Since they wanna, you hear me? You know what I'm saying? You want to do me like that? Bet. So for y'all think I'm faking, this is this is really mine. You hear me? I'm gonna cover up the important stuff. Hold on. You hear me? But let me see. Let me see how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna show y'all, man. Like the truth. Well, the best they ever did it. They can't keep up with it. You heard me? So you already know. You already know what I'm gonna do. I got y'all. I'm finna drop. I got so much like truth to drop. I'm gonna drop it for y'all. See, you know what I'm saying? They trying to take me out the game. This ain't nothing but a simulation anyway. So let me break it down. What I'm gonna be dropping? I'm gonna drop the real reason that Epstein files won't get released. I'm gonna drop that. I'm dropping why the government really shut down. I'm dropping it. Then I'm gonna drop like what really happened to the kids. I'm dropping it. Why it was so important. Like that's gonna be part of the reason the Epstein files won't get released. I'm dropping it. Well, I'm dropping back to back bangers. So if you really want to know what's going on, you really want to know the truth, if you really want me to decipher this, if you really want me to uncover everything, tap in with the Truth Uncovered TV brought to you by Ted So Serious. You know what it is. I'm checking out. Enjoy the video. But this is my first time making a video. But the second time gonna be the bang. You know what I'm saying? Second time gonna do your yeah. You heard me? So you already know what it is. You already know what it is. So if you don't like the first video, you for sure gonna like the second video because it's already a go. Stop playing with me. Ted So Serious, check it out. You watch a Truth Uncovered TV. You know what it is. Get it up with me. Hey, this is Ted So Serious, brought to you by Truth Uncovered TV. Go get your popcorn, your favorite drink, relax, turn on the TV, and get ready to enjoy the nice episodes or the crazy episodes of The Truth Uncovered, where we go down the Jeffrey Epstein's files/documentary. You will love this. This is crazy. Stuff you probably never realized in your life is going on around the world. Let me start off by saying Caroline is a girl that stay at Palm Beach, Florida. She stays in Palm Beach, Florida. And guess who else stay in Palm Beach, Florida? All the millionaires. The billionaires. But no, that's not where they stay all the time. They don't stay there all the time. They stay there probably every now and then, every season, or something like that. She goes to a school where it's predominantly low end, kids that go there as well. She's not next to the billionaires and millionaires. Well, we can say not at this very moment. Later on in life, her life is going to go down a crazy twist. A twist that nobody sees coming. Caroline, she was a nice kid. Went to school, only wanted to focus on good grades. Only wanted to focus on doing the great things in life. Like get a job, going to college, plan on living next to the millionaires. She might not afford to live next to the billionaires, but this is Caroline's dream. With that being said, we about to take a deep dive. Caroline is in the office and she's crying. Eyes are red, tears in her eyes, panicking, breathing hard, and everybody's answering her questions. What's going on with you, Caroline? Tell us right now. And she's like, I don't know what's going on with me. She have no clue. Caroline never been exposed to these kind of things in her life. The principal is asking her. So the principal is asking her, where did you get this money? Hold on. The principal's like, what's got into you? This is a non-violent school. We don't do these type of things. Caroline had got into it with a girl named Thiel. Tia has been picking fights, talking noise trying to bully Caroline because Caroline got one of the hottest dudes in her school. And everybody's picking with Caroline and all the girls team up. And Tia always will flirt.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Elle Woods, and this is Bruiser Woods. And we're both Gemini vegetarians. I have a bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising from CULA, and I was a...
One day, Caroline got very upset. And she was having a bad day since she woke up because she was tired of struggling. She was always trying to find different ways to make money. Caroline bumped into Tia and she was like, I'm not for it today, Tia. And Tia like, look who got their panties in the bush. Caroline threw the first punch, knocking Tia to the floor. Tia get back up, fighting, punching, wheelbilling. And Caroline is just giving her the biz, as we say. So they go to the principal office, which we had to catch up to. And Tia has a blooded nose. They go through both of the girls' backpacks, try to see what was the motive because they asked Tia, like, why did y'all get into a fight? So she just look at Caroline and roll her eyes. And Caroline look at the principal like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with me. So she like, hand me over your backpacks. So they hand over the backpacks. Tia, she has nothing but love letters to Caroline's boyfriend. And on the other hand, Caroline has 300. So the principal like, hold on, this is a C-rated school. We are predominantly poor. How did you afford to have $300 in your backpack when your mom and dad struggled to make peanut butter and jelly sandwich for you guys? Y'all are on this rated lunch, so y'all get y'all lunches for free. So what are you doing to have $300? Caroline said, I don't know. Some guy gave it to me. He's buff, but not too buff. He's old, but not too old. His hair is gray, but not too gray. I just don't know. He seemed pretty nice, and he said if I give him a massage and I massage his shoulders, and then I sit on top of him and I massage his neck and massage his chest, he'll give me $300. So I was needing the money, so I did it. He seems like a pretty good guy. He's very trustworthy, and he can persuade you. Like, he seems very, very nice. I didn't see nothing wrong with it. He gave me $300. So about this time, Caroline's mother and dad was called to the office, and it was like, Caroline, who gave you $300? We can't afford to give you that kind of money. We know you ain't giving from us, let alone, I know you ain't stealing from us because we don't have it alone at all. We don't have that kind of money. Baby, what's going on? Is it something you need to tell us? Caroline like, I don't have much to say. He just comes around and he just disappears. He call himself Jeff or Jeffrey or Jay. That's all I know. Then parents said, do y'all have pictures of this guy? And at that time, pictures and cell phone wasn't a thing. They just had the cordless phone, the landline phones. So, let's see what happens. The Metropolitan Correctional Center has a very, very big problem. The problem is that the Metropolitan Correctional Center has a big problem. It's always overflowed with feces. It's always overflowed with feces and urine and other bodily fluids all over the floor. It's never cleaned up very properly because who really want to clean up inmates' fecal matter? Who want to do that? Nobody really want to do that. So it never get cleaned up properly. And since it never get cleaned up properly, it has an over feces of rats. Rats just running wild all throughout the correctional center. The clients or the inmates are going to court saying, hey, the rats ate my paperwork. The judge like, get the hell out of here. Ain't no rat eat your paperwork. You gonna miss me with that. You not responsible. And then the lawyer said, no, seriously, it's a bad problem with rats. It's like they have a feces of rats. They are overpopulated with rats throughout the county. And the judge like, okay, we're gonna have to look into this. But nothing never got done. So in the south side region of the correctional center, it is heavily guarded. They go monitor the hallways every 30 minutes. And in a cell, this inmate, he refuses to come to the cell. The guard said, hey, 1134567. 1134567. Get to the front door right now. 1134567 is not responding. It's just totally quiet. It's an awkward kind of quiet. So the inmates all ratty up. They like, oh, what's going on? And the officers go inside only to find they go into the cell only to find the inmate is hanging by the clothing that he had on. So they said, what were 3567? He's not responding. So Chris runs inside. And Chris runs inside. He lift him up, put him on the shoulders, put him on the ground very, very, very slow. He put him on the ground very gently. And he said, perform a CPR. So the other, correctional officer, he don't want anybody to know what's going on. So he is panicking because they were supposed to to monitor this hallway 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, they're supposed to monitor the hallway. One person supposed to change out. One person go down the hallway 30 minutes. The other person going down the hallway 30 minutes. But they wasn't doing this. So Tucker, he's just panicking. He's panicking. And Chris over there, help me, bro. Call 911. Call 911. Tucker don't want to call 911 because the lieutenant would know that it wasn't performing their proper duties. He finally called 911. The paramedics say, hey, how can I help you? He said, we have an inmate on the ground. He's not responding. He's not breathing. We need paramedics immediately, right now. Please, help me out. Hurry up, please, for the sake of my job. And they were like, okay, we on the way. So Tucker hangs up. Chris said, I think he's gone. He checked his post. No post. This story just get crazier. So, August the 10th, 2019, at 7:36 a.m., Jeffrey Epstein was pronounced dead in a correctional facility. Word had got out and it spread rapidly around the world that maybe he just couldn't take the fact that he was going to be facing time in prison for the rest of his life. Or maybe it was the rats, roaches, maggots, flies, and the overgrowth of bacteria and feces in his cell. He just couldn't take it anymore. That made him unalive himself. Many people have wonders, ponders, and theories on what really happened to Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of people said around COVID was the perfect time to plan a great escape. Other people say, hey, if you have all these pedophiles, all these, SA allegations against you, they are happy to unalive themselves too. But 90% of the world is going with the first theory. They say if you have billionaire friends, elite people behind the mask in high places of the world, how hard would it be for you too to unalive or fake unalive yourself and roam free in a world where nobody knows your face? Many people wonder, many people speculate. But today, we just gonna tell the story that the world wants to hear, and the story that a lot of people just don't know about still to this day. So Jeffrey Epstein used to do the same thing every morning. And many people say if you want to be rich, you got to be consistent in what you do in life. So he used to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and he'll meditate in complete silence for 25 minutes. And whilst he is meditating in complete silence for 25 minutes, the people, the maids, the servants, the guests, everybody is holding their breath quiet while he meditates. Then he get up and get the same meal he always get. He get a banana, oatmeal, and some kind of other expensive food. And then he goes on his morning walk, approximately 1.6 miles. And then he goes back home. And he has on his mansion-like townhouse, it say J.E. And it's on this townhouse. And inside the townhouse, he has two other ladies, but he always kept women around him all the time. Jeffrey Epstein was pushing P. He used to always have a young lady from the age of 18 to 25 walking with him all the time, pushing P. And they did not walk beside him. They did not walk in front of him. They always walked behind him because if he might hold out his hand, they was ready to give him whatever he wanted. Or if he opened up his mouth, they would feed him grapes. The life of a billionaire. The things that many people don't get to see or know about. This is crazy to you, normal to the rest. Who is the rest? We might say the elites, people in charge. Jeffrey Epstein, he get back from pushing P, walking down the sidewalks, chilling, vibing to himself. And the women inside his home runs his shower. He gets in the shower, takes the shower. He don't drink, he don't smoke, and he only focus on keeping his mind as sharp as possible. Because he pushes So, me. As he sit down, he's about to get to work. But what is work for Jeffrey Epstein? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what this man gets into. Some say he have on the island, he collect people organs. Some say he SA the girls. Some say he do rituals. Right now, we don't know until the files come out. But what we do know is he had this big room, this big office. The desk that was made by this desk was made by J.P. Morgan. Well, not made by J.P. Morgan. This desk was owned by J.P. Morgan, one of the richest guys in America to today. And also, this journalist wanted to do a story on who? Jeffrey Epstein. She said she was doing a story in a journal. So he arranged for her to come to his house in his tea room that was decorated with some of the finest leopard skin chairs, and some of the crazy artwork that you could possibly picture in someone's house, home, or mini mansion. This picture of her, this lady was touching a lion's skin. So he arranged for Vicky Ward to come to his establishment because news has broken that on a flight to Africa with Bill Clinton. So Vicky Ward, she was sent to find out who is this guy. Everybody want to know who is this guy that's on the plane with Bill Clinton. Everybody like, who is he? Who is he? Like, who is he to be hanging with the president, Bill Clinton? So Vicky Ward made it her business to go out to seek answers, to find out who is this guy that's hanging out with all the elites, all the richest of the richest, all the biggest of the biggest, the big people, the billionaires, the elites, the people behind the mask, the ones that you don't get to see every day. Who is this guy? The world's trying to find out. So Vicky Ward made a promise to the world that she'll go find out who is Jeffrey Epstein and what do he do? What do he do to be around all these billionaires, elites, and the richest of the rich? So Vicky Ward had got word that, Jeffrey Epstein was pushing P. He was one of the few and last good man left in this world. All the women and people around the nearby area was talking about how he was just a ladies' man, how he just loved to please women and, give them their every need and desire they can possibly. And Vicky is obviously pregnant at this time with twins. She had twins, so the stomach was pretty big, and a lot of people could visually see that her stomach was pretty big. So Jeffrey, being the P that he is, he had a few of his servants with white gloves on gently place pieces of sandwiches on the plate and put it down in front of Vicky Ward while Jeffrey Epstein, is eating finger food, fruits and vegetables. His servant is hand feeding him fruits and vegetables while he's having to sit down with the journalist Vicky Ward. And she is so impressed, so baffled that a guy can even have a conversation with, and he's not just good at business. So she started to finally realize why all the women in New York is throwing themselves at Jeffrey Epstein, because he is so intelligent that he can. She started to picture and realize why everybody in the New York area is throwing themselves at Jeffrey Epstein while he's pushing P. So he realized that he's one of the few and only people that can have a conversation with the Stephen Hawking. So Vicky Ward is swept off her feet until she ran across this book that seemed to be left out in his letter T roll on purpose. The book is the Misfortune of Virtue. It's about a 12-year-old girl that get S8 over and over, S8, 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 over and over and over again. And then she get tied up by some monks, and they stabbing holes in her arm and catching the blood in a bucket. That's very strange for him to leave that kind of book out in his letter T room. I wonder what the letter was made out of. Just a thought. So inside his letter, fancy letter T room, he has the book on the table, and Vicky Ward stumbled across the book. And inside this book, it says, a woman has no other relations with her husband than that of a slave and her master. She certainly has no right to pretend to have any higher status than that, which is crazy. So basically, inside this book, it says women have no rights to have their own status, their own power, their own thoughts, their own religion. They can't do nothing but to be a slave to her husband and her master, which is crazy. That's in a book about a 50-year-old little girl. So by now, everybody know that Jeffrey Epstein was rich, but people were still saying, "Who is this man? Like, who is Jeffrey Epstein? What do he do?" Because when you rich and you're a billionaire, a lot of people want to know what you do, so they can possibly imitate what you did. But Jeffrey Epstein, he owned private residence in Manhattan. He owned a $18 million ranch in New Mexico. He owned an $18 million ranch in New Mexico that he called Zorro. He owned a mansion in Palm Beach, a condo in Paris, a house. What do he do? So when this rich and you this powerful and you have so many billionaire friends, people want to know, like, what do you do for a living? Like, how you get all this money? Where you get all this money? What scheme, what policy scheme that you know that they don't know? The world is still puzzled. So let's tell the world a little bit about what Jeffrey Epstein owned at the time while he was living. He owned a black poodle that passed away, and that he had stuff, a real dog that was stuffed in his home. He owned the largest private residence in Manhattan, Florida. He owned a upscale condo in Paris. He owned a house in Ohio. This house looked amazing. He got a golf cart, a tennis court, a big stupid swimming pool, then another humongous swimming pool. This is amazing. He owned a helicopter, a total of 5 planes. He owned a Boeing 727 and a trading room in the back of the same one that President Clinton, Bill Clinton, flew to Africa in. 2 Escalades, 6 Suburbans, 4 F-150, 2 Harley-Davidson motorcycles, a Range Rover, and all the powerful and all the famous, powerful, all the big influencers would be there. All the biggest of the biggest was there shaking hands with each other at his Manhattan real estate, private property. Like the biggest people there shaking hands, laughing, having a great time. Just imagine walking in a room, you see your boy DT, the president, Bill Clinton, everybody out there having a great time. Listen to NBA Youngboy. Just imagine crazy scenarios like that was going on at this man resident. People like Andy, Prince Andrew from the royal private family. People like Andy walking up to you like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I'm Andy, Prince Andy from the British royal family. So people like princes, kings, queens was at this man's house, residence, parties. Just imagine me royal people. Do you know how much power that is? Do you know what kind of guy and what kind of activities you have to portray and participate in to meet these kind of people? The people at the most highest points of their life is shaking their hands, walking around in your house. People, y'all just don't know half of the things that went on in this man's residence. So Epstein used to brag about going to movies, going to dinners, bringing 3 or 4 women at a time while they massaging his shoulders, arms, legs, thighs, all over his body. And they'll just alternate and switch. And they'll go to different, like in the middle of a movie theater, he is getting a massage. Just imagine women massaging this dude, standing up in a movie theater, massaging this dude, legs, shoulders, arms, and whatever else they was massaging. And he also used to go to, Jeffrey used to go to, according to one source, insane asylums and elf crazy women. He say that was one of his things that got his rocks off is, sleeping with crazy women. So this is still just scratching the surface of some of the stuff that was going on. And you can consider him one of the elites lifestyles that many people would never understand, never know, or even dream about half of this stuff that was going on. This kind of stuff that was going on in this man's life and other elite people life is stuff you might see on movies. Keyword, you might see it on the movie. So keep in mind, Vicky Ward is still around him at this time. She's documented and notating for her journal everything that my boy Jeffrey is doing. Jeffrey still showing her around, but this one source said that he or she was threatened 3 different times when they was told to do a specific duty for Jeffrey Epstein. So he had said, you better do it right and I better like it or things will happen to you, is what this source has came out and said. Keep in mind, Vicky Ward is still around him at this time. She's still taking notes, traveling around the world with him, just doing everything and anything that he possibly wanted to do at this time. And a credible source had told her that he has threatened him or she 3 times while she was around. And she never did see him say or do these things. I quote, the source said that Jeffrey told him or she that a specific duty to do and told him or she he better like it or things would happen to them. And Jeffrey, he wasn't the type of person that would impose his force on people. No. Keep in mind, Jeffrey Epstein was pushing P. He was the type that would let you dig a hole and then he pass you a knife once you dug the hole. So he let you pick and choose your own battles, the things you want to do, and however you want to do it. Jeffrey Epstein, he was a smooth, modern day, real life chess player. It's what America might call it. Others might see it different. Behind the scenes, he didn't tell Vicky Ward these secrets, but he told people around him, his staff, and things like that, that he want to bring in a large shipment of women, impregnate them with his seed, and he has said he know they will be more than willing to have his kids, and he has said with that he'll have a strong lineage of smart, brilliant kids running around. In a meeting with Harvard University, Jeffrey Epstein said he was hypercritical in reducing starvation and providing health care to the people that was less fortunate. Basically, what he was saying is let them starve to death, because he said Earth will be overpopulated. It'll be too many people walking around with too many problems. So just let them starve. But he never told Vicky Ward about those conversations. He only told her about conversations like conversation with, D.T, the president, and how they did amazing things for the community. He only talked about things like that. He never told her about things that goes on his private island. Some call Lil James is the name of the island, but some call it Pedophile Island. All the locals call it Pedophile Island. But Jeffrey Epstein, he called it Lil St. James. You can only get there in 3 hours if you have a private jet, because I don't think it's no other non-flight stop plane. Like if you go from port A to port B, that could get you to Lil St. James in 3 hours, unless you have a private plane. And it made Jeffrey Epstein one of the small 1% of billionaires that owns their own private island. A lot of millionaires and billionaires don't own their own private island. But this special guy that nobody knows what he do for a living, or nobody know what did he do for a living, has his own island. And keep in mind, the local people that stay around that island call it Pedophile Island. Your own island is very, very expensive. It is kind of like a big headache. It's like a whole lot of loops, a whole lot of different things you have to do to just purchase an island. So with this being said, they have this specialized group called Private Islands that help billionaires purchase their own island every day. So once Jeffrey Epstein, he starts to pays $15 million for the land, he started to renovate everything. He started to put in palm trees, not just baby palm trees, full grown palm trees. They like $5,000 per tree, and he bought tons of them. I'm talking about tons of palm trees all across the land. And then he already had like a house on the land, you heard me? So the way that he envisioned, the way he thought about, the way he meditated, the way that he wanted his land to specifically look like, he had this designer come through and excavate and reform the land in a way that fits his imagination. So by 2019, the island revenue was to be listed as $64 million. It went from time development and everything went into this island to make it home for Jeffrey Epstein. Besides the main house, the island has 3 guest cottages, a caretaker, and a groundkeeper. And then another local said that he compared him to like a King Von in the daytime. He was like a serial killer. This is what the local said, that he had the face of an evil person, and they were so scared of him. It was very demonic. The reason they said that is like, cause he was flaunting, hanging around with underage little girls. Another local said that it looked like these little girls just straight out of a catalog, like a Playboy magazine, because they never had clothes on. And if they did have clothes on, it was little to no clothes on. This is what a local said that stayed on the island close to Jeffrey Epstein. They said on this island, these girls was forced into sexual acts with his right hand girl, Ghislaine Maxwell. So if you ever heard of his case, you always heard about Ghislaine Maxwell. Allegedly, the victims had said that they were forced to do activities with not just Epstein, but many other wealthy people that was going to the island. And they had said Ghislaine Maxwell was like a madam to Jeffrey. Jeffrey was pushing P. You know what I'm saying? So he had that madam on deck. You know what I'm saying? So she doing whatever he say. So Jeffrey Epstein will break in like 20 to 3 Nobel Prize winners. And throughout the whole conference, they over here confronting and put in presentations how to confront gravity. And all the elites, they are very invested in Mars and trying to get to Mars. And they wanted to put together kind of way to define gravity and also beat the levels in physics of gravity. So they wanted to be able to control gravity. But if you control gravity, you control time. You can teleport. You can open up portals. There's a lot that comes along with playing with gravity, as I might say so myself. But Jeffrey said there's no agenda but fun and physics about the conference. Yeah, okay. Stephen Hawkins, he keep popping up in new release court documents. Well, it's not new to y'all, but it's new to me. So he keep popping up in the court documents that's being released at this time. So it's new to the world. And he's giving a session with Stephen Hawkins, Jeffrey Epstein we talking about. He loved everything about Stephen Hawkins. One conversation with Stephen Hawkins that he loved so much is that the fact that Stephen Hawkins said one day that the universe would stop expanding and it would collapse. And when it collapsed, time will run backwards. So do that mean that we'll get younger instead of older to the point where we reverse so much to the point we don't exist no more? Good question. I need y'all thoughts in the comment section. He liked that conversation and everything about Stephen Hawking so much that he bought him a custom-made submarine that was built just for Stephen Hawkins and Stephen Hawking's wheelchair. So he could travel the deep dives of the sea and explore into the thoughts that Stephen Hawkins have. And with a genius like Stephen Hawkins going deep into the submarine, deep into the water within the submarine, what can they possibly uncover? What can they run across? What can they decode? It's a lot of questions that need to be asked that's not being asked. But, in the Truth Uncovered TV, we're going to ask those questions that need to be asked that nobody sit here answering. Jeffrey Epstein will conduct scientific experiments. Jeffrey Epstein would host scientific conventions on the island. And one of the conventions that he hosted was called Mind Shift Convention Conference. Mind Shift Conference. So they would go to this island that Jeffrey Epstein is hosting an event called Mind Shift. And they would just talk about Neuralink and neuroscience. Okay. Another private convention was called Confronting Gravity. Let's think about it. In Miami, it was this big old conspiracy that, aliens was up in Miami walking around 70 feet tall. And they over in Lil St. James having a conference on the defining gravity. Come on now. We got to put these pieces together. Jeffrey Epstein was private that he also bought the land that was closest to Pedophile Island, PD Island. A lot of people call it PD Island. A lot of people call it Lil St. James. But Jeffrey Epstein, he called it Lil St. James. So he bought the island right next to it. And also, it bought a whole lot of sea urchins. You know what sea urchins does? So it will be very impossible, damn near impossible, to leave his island or to come to his island without him knowing about it, because he planted these little sea urchins in the other island to prevent anybody from leaving and anybody from coming to his island without his consent. People like Stephen Hawkins, Leslie Wesson, that owns the Victoria's Secrets, the brand that people and women love today, has been to the island. Nick Campbell, Prince Andrew, Clinton, these people names have all been brought up, saying that they visit the island of Jeffrey Epstein. Or let's just name the island. Let's just keep calling out the island for what it is. Lil St. James. But people today is still debating how they really went to the island, what went on when they went to the island, what other stuff happened that people don't know, why they won't release the Epstein files. People is still waiting for the Epstein file to be released. But let me digress and keep or asking questions like, what do they have in common? What is making them want to go to the island? Why are they at the island? Come on, just tell us what's going on at this island that we don't know about, that we want to know about. Secrets that's being told, untell them. They like tell the secrets that's being told. People are itching for the truth. And to the day, people still wait for them to tell them the truth. And then she tells the authorities that sometimes, like, he'll have her come over and he'll like, Caroline, make sure you undress by the time you get here so I can focus and get my work done. Or sometimes she'll lay in bed with him and just watch the news. Or sometimes she'll be unclothed and they'll be eating dinner together. Caroline says she ain't always have to give him massages. Then she says she would never go to his house if money wasn't involved. So she said, but on this particular day, she decides to go over to his house. And when she goes over to his house, he throw her against the massage table, forced his way in. She start freaking out. She start trying to stop, no. And he, R-word her for the little time that he could. She's having a breakdown. Caroline like, is it really a R-word or what actually took place? Because I think he's a pretty nice guy, but he also told me not to tell people my real age. He told me not to tell people I'm really 16. So things got kind of good, but kind of strange after that. This is what Caroline is telling the police officers. Has started to, like, he started her off kind of slow from what Caroline is telling. So Caroline say he slowly transitioned into put me into different situations where I stopped just massaging him all the time. Now I was having, activities with his other girlfriends at the house. Like to so he was would sit there on his peak, just sit back watching them have interactions with each other. And sometimes he would join in, most of the time he would watch. So Caroline also told the police officer, Caroline said, it was always, most of the time, if not always, that we was using strap-on devices and toys with large rubber objects. And Caroline continue to tell the police officer, it's kind of hard to tell him no because he's like a very smart mastermind. It's like if you tell him no, you feel guilty. But if you tell him yes, like you feel like you did the right thing. He's always 100% knowing like what you gonna say. That's like his job. It's his job to like know what people gonna say before they say it. So he counts and say it for you. And police like, so he kind of tell you what, like, so he's kind of coaching you into what to say. Caroline like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Caroline continued to tell the police officer. They were like, the police officers were like, well, why you didn't report this a long time ago? Like the first month that it started. So she was like, he promised that he was gonna get me into NYU. And he was gonna pay for it. So she was like, I waited, and I did good in school, and I scored high on my GPA. She said, I waited, and I did real good in school, and I had a GPA of 4.0. So I gave him like my application like 3 times, and he never submitted it or checked it. That's why I stayed so long because my dreams was right there in front of me. The police said, have any time, like, have he ever hurt you at any point of the time or the visit that you was there? Caroline like, yeah, like he had picked me up and threw me. Obviously that would hurt. And it been a few times where I'll go to his house, and while I'm at his house, like when I leave, I can barely walk. Caroline says to the officers, you know what's gonna happen now. I'm not safe. He's gonna figure this out. He's gonna figure out that I told you guys that I'm here, that this happened, and bad things is gonna happen to me. Police officers, they not used to this. Keep in mind, let's start from the beginning. It's just a routine stop. Get it? This was just a routine traffic stop where they smelled a little weed on a 16-year-old girl, and they thought, nothing of it. They were like, oh, just a routine stop. But the routine stop turned for a twist. So they not used to handling situations where they are battling with the elite. So they pretty much don't know how to handle this situation that Caroline's in. So they brushing it off like, you don't have nothing to worry about. You know, when you with us, we will protect you no matter what. She was like, no, I'm not safe. I'm not safe at all. I can't do this. Hold on, what's gonna happen after this? So around this time that Caroline is in possession by the police officers, this is winter time. This is the prime time where all the elites, they go from Washington, New York City, all, Michigan, all the snow areas that snows real, real heavy. Yeah, then they go to Palm Beach, Florida, where they have so many elite parties. All the richest of the richest, the important of the important, the who I am to the world, the wars are having parties at this time during winter time where everybody else is getting snowed in up north. They dealing with blizzards, snowstorms, ice storms. The elites are having a ball. But this is the same time that Caroline was in possession by the police officers. So her rate of endangerment is very high. So keep this in mind. So billionaires are having parties. So when they get done having these parties, they have the workers come in and leave the house spotless. Guess what? For them just to do it all over again, this is an ongoing thing that the workers have to deal with. And they know it. The workers call it Mount Trashmore. Everybody's trash to the workers except Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody think he's trash. His trash was secretly being pulled by the Palm Beach Police Department. Right after Tamara and Caroline have given their reports to the Palm Beach Police Department. Things is getting spicy behind the scenes while he's out having a blast, a wonderful time with his billionaire friends. So the police, they decide to do what they call a trash pull. The trash pull is when the police secretly dress up as trash transporters, get the trash, take it to a special place where they go through, sort out important documents, and see what they can find. So at this moment, the police officers are looking for pieces, half-eaten, toothbrushes, condoms that still have DNA in it, anything that can, like glasses with like kids, like somebody's lips, or anything that's on the glass that can have some kind of DNA that results back to underage kids. They looking for notebooks, journals, pieces of paper, anything they have any kind of significance they can use as evidence to do a ward or a bust. So they try to find anything, not only to just do a bust or a ward, they try to connect him to anything that can possibly connect him to like an underage girl. So they watching bus routes, they watching where people are getting off at the bus at, they watching who's going in and who's coming out, they watching everything. So boom, out of nowhere, the door's open. And who's walking through the door? Silver hair, shining, with a smirk on his face. Guess who it is? Jeffrey Epstein. And behind him is a beautiful shaped young lady looking around the age of 19 years old. Just a half or 2 steps behind him as he busts through the police door. So all the police officers, they have never been in a situation like this. So it's very strange and awkward to them because the girl, the young lady that's walking behind him, she looked like she's just turned 18. But on the other hand, she's not making no eye contact. She's staring down at the ground. She's not friendly. She's not smiling. So the officers don't have nothing to go off of. They don't even know how to make out her face. Jeffrey walks up to the chief writer, and hands him a $90,000 check for a firearm simulator. They can practice their shots and making sure they have the best aim possible to protect the locals and the Palm Beach resident. And he let them know that his name is Jeffrey Epstein, and he just want to donate to make sure that the Palm Beach resident is as safe as possible. And everybody in their mouth has dropped speechless. Let alone they never see somebody come in and just give $90,000 straight up to like the chief like that. They around this time, they not seeing more than $2,000 checks a month. And he was trained for anti-terrorism at the FBI headquarters. And he's a very, very family-oriented guy. So something in his body, in his senses is telling him, hey, something ain't right about this guy. So he started to look very closely to Jeffrey Epstein. $90,000 was enough to bribe the chief to stop him from looking into Jeffrey Epstein. So later on, throughout the week, they get another report that sounds very similar to the assault that Caroline was talking about when she was R. So Chief Ryder, he has a plan on taking Jeffrey Epstein down. But on the other hand, he's telling his team, hey, if we go out and capture this guy and we don't have enough evidence to persecute him, his lawyers, his attorneys is going to eat us alive. It won't be nothing we can do about it. He's going to make us look foolish and nobody will trust us. Nobody will believe that we have the power to take any kind of criminal down because a man of this stature that have billions of dollars, it won't be nothing for him to throw a couple $100,000 or a couple $100 million to attorneys when we don't even know what this man does for a living. So all the police officers, they are sweating. They don't know what to do at this moment. They don't know what to think. They want to participate, but on the other hand, they don't want to get ate alive and possibly lose their job or even worse, get sued for going after somebody they know nothing about. For a guy to be so rich, they knew nothing about him. Without no college degree, gets a role in teaching kids, but not just any kind of kids, the rich of the richest kids, the super elite kids. So he was the kind of guy that would take his role in teaching kids very, very serious. So what he would do is during the parent teacher conference, he was telling them that he was a guy that studied the brains of like the richest, the brains of kids and how he could develop them into being brilliant billionaires later on in life. So one of the dads leaned over and he says, "Hey Jeffrey, have you ever heard of Bear Stearns?" Bear Stearns was a major investment, a trading and brokerage firm. In 2008, it was one of the largest banks in Manhattan. But at the same time, it did collapse that same year. I have a crazy, crazy thought. What if P. Diddy went to the Jeffrey Epstein Island and got some of those ideas from him? Now, that's something crazy. Like a lot of people, y'all ain't thinking about this. Man, let me know if y'all thought about that because I haven't heard anybody talk about it. What if P. Diddy was getting the same ideas from Jeffrey Epstein that he is now so-called doing today, allegedly? Then inside his bathroom, he got like inside his bathroom, this man has like private parts of, men and women inside his bathroom. Right next to his cabinet, allegedly, he had more George jelly right there next to it. And also more pictures of naked women all throughout the bathroom. You open the door to his closet, not his bathroom, but his closet. It is more pictures of naked women inside his closet. And these pictures are not just random pictures of like naked celebrities or beautiful women. These pictures are pictures of the young girls that all came to his house, scattered all throughout his house. And all of them looking very, very young. And most of them are completely unclothed. And then he has books, UFC, stats of UFC tapes, all kinds of DVDs. Then he got books for Amazon. One of the books for Amazon is called Slave Craft, Erotic Books for Servitude. Slave Craft? Slave Craft, Erotic Book for Servitude from Amazon. I'm going to have to look that up. It's 2 secret cameras hidden in his house inside a clock, allegedly, in his house, that some of the girls that never, ever knew anything about this. Allegedly, Jeffrey used to take pictures with his camera and he'll keep the pictures from the picture that was taken from the clock and he'll just put it in a frame and the girls will know nothing about it, allegedly. For the first time, most women are led into this room. They have a green and pink sofa, like a green and pink couch. Like nobody knows. I have never seen in my life a green and pink couch. Never seen a green and pink couch. That's some real money. After allegedly he sneaks all these pictures of these girls from this clock that has pink and green couches in it. After he get done taking the pictures with the clocks that got eyeballs, so these eyeballs are really eyes, camera eyes. They are taken to this room. They have a green and pink couch inside of it. Right next to it, it's another cabinet, wooden cabinet that's filled to the top with toys. And then go another big old picture of a naked woman right beside that. And then it's like a massage table right there next to the couch. And how they even get to the room, they are taken to the room by another girl the same age as them. So they feel more comfortable going with this girl because this girl is leading them to the same path she has taken as well. So the girl is kind of nervous, kind of iffy, but you got to think about it. These girls are allegedly fresh out of high school or fresh in high school. And they were like, well, it's just a massage. Even though everything in there says otherwise, like the pictures of the girl half naked or fully naked in the massage room with the lube and the cabinet full of toys. The girls are still on edge, but they're like, "Hey, I need this extra money because TJ Maxx ain't paying me the kind of money that I need to sustain the lifestyle I want to live." They had got led to the room, was having a conversation with the other girl because keep in mind she was nervous. So she had said, what if he like try to do something? Like, what if he tried to do more than just have a massage? Then the girl like, just simply tell him no. And then she was like, can I just simply tell him no? And that's okay? And then the girl like, yeah, just tell him no. What man is not just gonna try to cop a feel? He's gonna try to feel or touch you, yada yada. That's normal. Just tell him no. What to do. And the girl was like, okay, yeah, sure. I just tell him no. And as long as I get him a massage, I just get $200. What girl would want to do that? So she's having a discussion, but while she's having the discussion, several other girls behind her. So too. They are all hearing the discussion that's taking place. Tia is the girl that we gonna use name. Tia eventually goes into the kitchen where she meets Tamara. So Tamara is one of allegedly Epstein's slaves. But Tia don't know that Tamara is a slave at the moment. So Tia Tamara tells Tia, hey, he'll be waiting on you in just a second. And Tia's like, okay, cool, thanks. And she's led inside this room. They have a lot of weird paintings. So, then she finally meets Jeffrey. Jeffrey is inside of this big old bathroom. They have a big couch inside the bathroom, a massage table, and a ton of lube right beside it. And then Tamara is paid a lot. A lot of $100 bills. And she leave out. Tia is peed off at this moment because she felt like she was led to do something totally against her will. And she feels like she was set up to do this because she felt like she could trust her friend enough to be honest with her, to tell her what she going through. And she thought the girl was going to do this with her. She never did think she was going to be alone. But Jeffrey shakes her head. She politely smiles and say, hey. So right now, Tia feel like she have no other option but to give this older middle-aged man a massage with these massage oils, and he just keep getting, a little upset with her because he keep telling her, take off your top. So he just keep whining and he keep complaining and he keep telling her to take off her skirt. But she is trying to massage him with the massage oils. And she was like, Thiel, like, no, I'm not doing that. So keep in mind, Thiel had already made her mind up that she wasn't doing that. None of that. She just wanted to get a massage, get $200, then leave. But Jeffrey, instead of telling her, come on, you're not really doing nothing by taking off your skirt. Jeffrey is telling her, you're not really doing nothing by taking off your skirt. Just take it off. It ain't nothing but a skirt. You ain't showing nothing. So he ended up pressuring her into it, which is illegal because Tia is 16 at this time. Then he started forcibly touching her, and she tried to tell him to stop. But he keep going, and now he telling her to take off her shirt. So at the end, like Tia, she feeling pressure, and she like, oh, I don't really want to take this off, but I'll do it because I really need the extra money. And yeah, like my parents, they not in the best predicament. So he was like, yeah, you can just take that off. But she kept like her underwear on, like her top and her panty line. So he's touching like the chest areas and the leg areas. While he's getting a massage, he's getting off at the same time. So he wipe himself off from his own body fluids, and he gets up, he's satisfied, and he pull out $300 and he give her $300. But I'm just using these words that was told by Caroline. But, that's not for me to talk about. I just want to tell the story. So Caroline told the police officers that Jeffrey said that she was the favorite. So he bought her cars, plane tickets. She'll come home sometimes to Jeffrey Epstein's house and have big, huge bags of lingerie. Just wait on her. Things that normal people could not afford to give her. Jeffrey even asked Caroline, can you talk to your mom and dad and see, can you emancipate so you can come live with me as my girlfriend? And the police said, to live with him, you 16. So the police officer said, so he basically wanted you to be like his little girlfriend or his little slave. And she was like, yeah, you could call it that because the payments, it increased more and more as I kind of refused to do stuff, but eventually did it. So the more I refused and then I eventually did it, I got paid a little more. So the police kept asking her details about his private parts. And she had said, yeah, I'm very sure about his private parts because he got something like a birth defect. So she wasn't used to people that's little is what's going on in this situation. But that's what happened. So she's telling the police officer, the whole time I worked with him, I never had to touch his birth defect. So I don't know what it is. I never thought about it. I never looked into it, but because I never had to touch it. The police said, She was like, yeah, he never did have to use it on me, or he never did do anything. Like he might have run through against me, but I never had to go as far as doing something with him. So the police was like, officer so she was like, do you want me to go in detail or what it looked like or what do you want? So the police officer was like, yes, go in detail. So she said it's like a teardrop shape. She was like, it looked like a teardrop. So it's big. So she was like, it's big at the top, it's small at the bottom. She said it is always stiff. And the authorities so she said, I got paid a lot of money to. Caroline told the police officers that Jeffrey Epstein was going to call her over and tell her that she would have to be completely undressed by the time she get there and just sit down looking beautiful while he worked. And he would pay her a lot more money just to do those small little tasks in his head. They was very small. So she never had to do nothing physical. She just had to look like a pretty trophy to Jeffrey Epstein. Y'all got to keep in mind, Jeffrey was pushing P. So the tip of the iceberg started to melt September 2005, where the police pulled over a young driver, Caroline. So we're going to continue to use the fake name Caroline. So the officer pulled over this young girl named Caroline, and he smelled weed in the car. No, she's not pushing weight or having a lot of, drugs in the car. None of those things are going on. But what is going on is the police officer smell weed in the car. She's in Florida. And having weed back then was shame. So of course the police have to book her for having weed in the car. So the police just thinking this gonna be a regular routine, stop, arrest, take her into custody. But since she is feeling safe, Caroline feel like she in a safe position to start to talk to somebody in a higher position. So she's standing requesting, please, can you let me talk to somebody? Please, please let me talk to somebody. I need to talk to anybody. Let me talk to somebody that's above you. It's what Caroline is telling the police officers. So they start to frown and start to get worried because why is this young girl requested to talk to like a superlieutenant, a captain, or a trooper? Who is she and why is she want to talk to these people? So the police start questioning, like, why do you need to talk to somebody higher up? Like, we just took you to jail for weed. Police knew back in the day that weed wasn't a big deal. Why? To blow it too. But let's I digress. Let's continue with the story. Police knew back then that weed wasn't a big deal. So they used to say, like, why? Like, why you want to just talk to somebody in a higher position off of like a little weed charge? You'll be out here tomorrow. And she start to say, hey, I know this guy. And this guy's name is Jeffrey Epstein. And she says, I've been to Little St. Peter. And I know what goes on in that house. So this not the island, Little St. James. This is one of his residents in Palm Beach, Florida. You have to go through his security, go through his side gate, go to the side door that's open up to the kitchen. And when you get to the kitchen, then you are in this house. Then if you want to go upstairs, once you leave the kitchen, and usually inside the kitchen is one of the housekeepers doing dishes or cleaning up or cooking, some of those things of that nature. But if you want to go upstairs, you have to go up this staircase full of pink carpet. The house and hallway is full of naked women. But since he's a billionaire, that's nothing but the core designer stuff that most people don't have the luxury of having in a house around that time. People that have that kind of money to have. So some parts of his house seems like a hospital. It give you that odd, creepy, I don't want to be here kind of feeling. So the guest room and some parts of his room looked like it looked like you was walking into like a doctor's office or some kind of, situation. Then you walk into Jeffrey Epstein's bedroom. The whole room have this kind of dark vibe. It is kind of off. It don't make you feel comfortable. Don't make you feel like, oh, let me get up and run. It just make you feel like you just stuck kind of feeling is what they described. Then it's these hospital like machines that's right there next to his bed. They said that was for sleep actor. Yeah, we gonna go with that. Then he got this side massage table in his bedroom. Then he got this wood cabinet right there next to his massage table that's filled with rubber toys. And those rubber toys are like the female roses of today. This like real crazy adult toys that he's having right there next to his massage table. Then right there next to his bed, he has peach flavor joy jelly right there next to his bed. Everybody, y'all are lynching P. Diddy, but he was P. Diddy before P. Diddy was a thing. Real talk. They said another thing that Jeffrey Epstein was allegedly doing was they said that he was using these little girls as spies, as detectives. So what these little girls would do would have activities with all the billionaires and all the elite people. And what they would do after that will be sit there and gather as much information about these people as possible, then come back and tell, Epstein. So they said every part of the island had a camera. You couldn't go nowhere without him knowing exactly what was going on. They said even in the bathrooms, it was cameras in the bathrooms, the cabins, the trees, the leaves even had cameras in it, allegedly. But you never know. Then they said if you was to try to escape, very, very bad things will happen to you. Like super bad things will happen to you if you ever try to escape. They said the locals stated like they think satanic rituals was taking place, underground tunnels, and all kinds of things was taking place on this island. This is coming from the locals and alleged the people that was victims. A lot of things happened at this place allegedly. Satanic rituals, underground patches, human sacrifices was going on at this island. And a lot of people today is still puzzled